Hello everyone, I'm Gabriela Dragomir, founder and CEO of Brainstorm Strategy, and today at Diasporas in Business I have with me Geoffrey Semaganda, a very great businessman who create multiple business. But I will let Geoffrey to tell us more about him. Geoffrey, welcome to our talk show Diasporas and Business, and please tell me more about yourself for our community, because you have an interesting journey in entrepreneurship.
Gabi, thank you so much. I think it's fair, if you're going to talk to people about you, it's better to start from your background, because I think people see you and they just don't realize that you come from different environments, and I believe every single one of us need to tell each other who we are, where we come from. Now, I was born in a country called Uganda, and by the time there was a war going on in my country, so from the age of 5 all the way to the age of 12, there was always some unease in my country. So from the age of 8, I used to see a lot of people get killed, but we had to run away from one part of the country to another. But when we did run away, my father always told me as a kid that to always be useful. He would always say that when you're useful, you always find a way to survive. Nobody kills you first. You always find something to eat. People find you useful, and they actually keep you next to them instead of pushing you away. And so when we moved from one part of the country to the other, I volunteered to help out, to actually go to the wholesale shop, buy goods, bring those goods at home, and then we sell those goods at retail, and that's how we made a profit. And that's how we used the profit to buy food, because we needed to survive. So because of that, I learned to make money. When I learned to make money, it became much easier that I didn't go back to be the same kid again. So then the war kind of ended when I was just about 11, 12. I had my uncle in Kampala, which is the capital city of Uganda. I got on a truck and I came to Kampala to meet my uncle. I didn't realize my uncle wasn't rich. He didn't have a place to stay for himself. So I stayed on a street called the slums of Kampala. This is where one of the worst places in the city. And he was staying there. So I helped out to fix cars. He was a mechanic. So, but when I was in that environment, I didn't like the environment because I was raised to be a kid with discipline and be useful, and that environment wasn't good for me. But I knew I needed to do something there. I needed to be better than other kids. Because remember when I left the village, I didn't tell my father that I'm going to town. So it was looking for me to send me back to school. So, but because he told me to be useful, at that garage, it took me like just under a month to be able to learn how to put an engine together. You see, kids, we learn so quickly. Around 11 years old, I could take a Japanese car apart and put it together. And then one day when I was there, I saw a young guy came riding a moped, these motorcycles. They're there everywhere, but in those days, there weren't many. So I asked him, how did you get one of those mopeds? He was joking, proud to show off. He said, come and work for me. I found out where he works. And I showed up in the morning to work with him. So, and then he said to me, but Geoffrey, I was joking. I said, don't worry, I can be useful. So I stayed with this guy for about 3-4 months, and I learned how to balance books. I learned he told me everything about how to manage money, how to balance books, how to make sure what came in, what went out. He told me all these particular things, all these things, but the problem was he didn't want me to make money for myself. So I realized that in order for me to convince my father that I need to stay in Kampala, in town, I needed to make my own money. I need to buy my own house. In Uganda, in those days, to show that you're a man, you need to have a house, period. So I knew if I can buy myself a house, I'd be fine. When I told him I need to build my own house, he wanted to build his house first, and then he can build mine. But when he finished his house, he said I should use his house as my house. He didn't understand my reasons for wanting to build my house. I wanted to go to my father, that I can take care of myself. Anyway, cut the story short, that's when I realized that when you work for someone, they'll never let you make more money than they make. They don't let you basically do your own things. And then I wanted to earn money quietly on the side with a friend. So I gave him some of my money to start buying goods and sell them on the side. So I can make my own money without this guy I'm working for finding out. Now I'm 12 years old. I'm basically getting old. Time is running out for me. And then this guy used the money to take his son to hospital. Then I was like, hold on, that was my money. He said, well, my kid was not well. I said, listen, it was my money. I understood he needed to take his child to hospital, but I learned another lesson. Don't trust anybody with your money. So now because of that, I started to notice people are bringing goods to our shop. They came from Dubai and London and New York. So I started to make friends with those people who used to come from London and Dubai. I started to become useful to them. And then one day, one of the women was bringing his brother to the UK. This brother was not well educated. His English wasn't great. He was far above me, but I knew that if he can go, he can become my friend and he can send me some goods from London. Then I remembered that you can't trust anybody with your money. Then I'm like, no, I have to figure out to go myself. So I asked him the question that do people like me who don't speak good English, really young, can I come to London? He said, well, I've seen Chinese people in this country don't speak good English, they're here. So I was like, fine. I started saving money by the age of 13, just around after my 14th birthday. In those days, to come to Europe, you didn't need a visa from Uganda. So I just bought myself a ticket, asked myself questions, got in a plane, I came to London. So that's how my journey to London. I tell that because people sometimes they get confused. They think maybe your father brought you, maybe you had family members. I just took it. When you're a kid, you don't care. You just take on a risk because you don't know what doesn't work. And sometimes ignorance is your best strength. Because I didn't know, I took a chance. But when I got to London, it wasn't funny. I was a skinny kid who couldn't do manual labor jobs. And I realized I can't do this. I did try to work in a factory. I couldn't do it. But I did learn one thing. When my father told me, be useful. And secondly, I understood that I needed to go back to school to learn so that I can get a better job. But I couldn't do full-time schooling in London because it was very expensive for a foreign student. But most importantly, I needed to survive. Remember, I left the country without telling my father, my mother, the guy I was working for, I didn't tell him. I just told my nine-year-old brother who escorted him to the airport. Now, people think that's not true. No, that's what I did. And that's most people do incredible stuff. And you did incredible stuff, I'm sure, in your life. You need to tell us. If you don't tell us, we don't know. So I knew I need to go back to learn English in school. When I was in this course, learning English, learning marketing, because I was told the only job that's always available is a sales job. So I knew I need to go and learn sales. In that environment, I was introduced to network marketing. Network marketing allowed me to learn personal development. Allowed me to learn that you can become anything, the only person going to stop you is yourself. But then I'm like, how can I stop myself when I've been working since I was 9 years old? Then those things got me mad. Then I knew that I needed a lot to learn. So because I figured out it was easier to set up a business than getting a job. To get a job in London in those days, you needed a work permit. But when you wanted to set up a business, nobody asked you for anything. So I was like, okay, let me register a company. And then the next question was, then how do I find something to sell? Because I was in the network marketing environment, I'm also doing a course. Somebody told me, well, go to some seminars or go to exhibitions and find something you like to sell and sell it. I said, but I can't sell. They said, well, find people who can sell. And my question was, so you telling me that I don't speak good English, I'm almost a kid, so you telling me that I can actually get people to work for me? He said, if you're a company, of course. But I said, what if I don't have the money? Then they looked at me like a stupid kid and said, well, if you don't have the money, they don't know that. You pay them at the end of the month. By then they've done the work, you got paid, you can afford to pay them. I said, that's what I was doing in Uganda. I used to work for somebody who basically used to make me work without paying me. I can do that. So I set up my first company when I was 16 years old and was selling telecommunication services in London when the deregulated telecommunication, where I said, go to businesses and tell them you can save money on your phone bills. And then I went back and asked, where can I find people to work for me? So we go to job centers. There are many people out there looking for work. We went to job centers. But then when I went to the job center, they said, you need an office. And I'm like, I don't have an office. And then somebody told me in these network marketing meetings, anything you want to learn, or what you want to do, somebody has already done it. And they've written a book about that. So I was like, let me research if there's a way I can get an office for free. Gabby, no word of a lie, I went to the library and I found a book that is about a real estate book, how to get free rent for an office and for an accommodation. And I found a way you can get a building that under construction, not 100% finished, and you can negotiate 6 months free rent. I went, there was a building at Blackfriars Road, now it's called Friars House. And there's a building there, it was being boarded up. I went, there was a showroom office. I told them what I want to do. The woman said to me, well, but we don't use this office, you can use it if you want to interview people. I said, great. I used that office as my office. We recruited about 30 people from the job center and we started selling. My first month commission, Gabby, was 32,000 pounds. Commissions. We paid our workers about 20, give or take, and I had 12,000 pounds profit in my account. And I was really even scared. I'm like, what do I do? Because I was like, when I was talking to Ugandans, they told me, you can't do this when you are an immigrant. You can't do this when you're a kid. If you have that kind of money, they'll deport you. And then I went back to that question is, anything you want to learn, there's a book on it. So I went to research immigration. How can I get status in the UK? And the book was very clear. Be a good guy. Don't commit any crime. Don't claim benefit. Have a business, pay taxes, quit jobs. It was easy. That's what I'm doing. So from that day, I stopped asking people who don't qualify to tell me anything. I started doing things myself. Cut the story short, over the years, I set up over 50 different business ideas. 30 of them failed. 10 of them I kept as good businesses. 5 are sold, 5 are still on today. And I'm still excited about life. I'm still learning, I'm still researching, and I'm so excited to meet people like you and share ideas. So that is my story. I've written 7 business books. If people want to find out my story, they can find those books. I've done workshops and seminars for people from the US and the UK. I was one of the first companies to bring people like Les Brown to the UK. I was the first actual company to bring Les Brown in 2004 in the UK. People like Brian Tracy, people like John Nicolaus in the UK. And then I used to bring them to Dubai and Africa. But a system of learning wealth is not about personal development, it's about everything. That's why now I'm doing some free training on Facebook on how to work on your mind, work on your body, present yourself well, build 5 income streams and in information, turn what you know into money, build an online business, build a business that pays you because businesses, they get supported better than anything else. Put your money in real estate, put your money to people, with people who know what to do, because if you can't beat them, we join them. We want them to learn how to work for us, who are not very rich. If you want Warren Buffett to work for you, you put him some of your money to his companies to work for you. And then protect your wealth, because they don't sue poor people, but the day you become wealthy, that's the day somebody come after it. People say, I've never been sued before, because you're poor. But when you become rich, they come after it. So don't worry about it until you protect it. Too many people are rich yesterday and poor today because they learn to make money, but they don't learn how to protect it. So that's what my training, my consulting, my business, I have real estate business, we develop real estate, we develop software. I have a youth program of 5,000 people around the world that we work with, we support them and help, not for money, but give them advice. Because I know I didn't need money, I never needed money, I needed somebody to give me the answers I'm looking for. And I leave you with this, Gabby, that when I come to the UK with the name Semaganda, in the 90s, you're going to understand that to compete it was not easy. But somebody told me, don't rely on anybody. Don't worry about your color, or your education, or your height, or your whatever. Just understand that before you show up, they need to know who you are. And you need to write books to make them look better than you are. You need to employ people who are better than you are because they make you look good. You just do nothing. Don't talk very much, let them talk. Listen, the wealthiest people, you know Richard Branson. Richard Branson talks very little. People think he talks a lot, but he doesn't say very much. He talks very in general, but he has all experts around him. It's the expert tells you what to do. You practice it, and then you put them out across to people, and then they think you're a smart guy. The difference between the wealthy and the poor, the wealthy person, they take a risk in life. People call it risk, but no, it's not. Because if you don't, we all walk by faith. Gabby, you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow, but we hope we're going to wake up tomorrow. So people get scared of nothing. Makes sense to me. Just keep trying, go move forward, set them an idea, and make sure the idea is big enough so smart people be interested. The problem with most people, they come up with small business ideas, they're not big enough for them, and they want somebody to be part of that. Make the idea look so big, and let them make the idea work, because smart people want to work for big people, big thinkers, bigger cakes, because they can have a piece of that. Some people can't set up a business for themselves, but they have to work within a business. And that's really where my message is always attached to. So Gabby, I think introducing myself is taking so long, but I want people to understand that, because if they don't, then they assume that you did this part that you are not. So there you are.
Your statement about your history definitely make our audience to understand everything is possible if your mind is open to take everything on board. And thank you for sharing. That means a lot for us, because we understand why you stand out of the crowd in these times, especially for entrepreneurs at the beginner journey. They are scared. They don't know how to do many things. They want to touch many things, but don't know how to start. And your example, it's another one. Everything is possible if your mind is ready to take on board all the challenge. Because you tell us you have lots of experience and lots of area of businesses. Tell me about your last idea of business. Where did the idea come for your business, and what drive you to be there and that idea? Because you have the last business is very, very special for you.
Well, I guess if we can basically help people understand the fundamentals are, you can't start a business in something that you have no interest in. So really for me, the first thing happened is that somebody told me that until I learn to sell myself, I can never succeed. And in order for me to sell myself, I need to know myself. To know myself, I need to write about myself. I need to get comfortable with all the good and the bad and ugly about me, and try to turn those into something that can motivate me and motivate other people to get to know me so they can work with me. Because when people don't know your story, they don't know you. And they don't know you, they can't do business with you. And they can't do business with you, then what is it you've been doing? So you need to get people to know you. Not everybody will like you, but there will be 1 out of 100 who will say, you know what, I like him, I like her, then I can work with her. Now, because as you get to know more about you, you start to become comfortable about what you are happy to do, even if you didn't get paid. Okay? Then when you start, it doesn't mean you like it all the time, but you start to get comfortable about a specific subject. So in that case, for me, initially, I was trying to find sales businesses, and then I realized that why so many people are not doing the thing that I was doing. I had a good friend of mine, because he did help me when I just got to London as a kid. And he was working a very bad job and getting paid very little money. And he's the most smartest guy that I know. So I asked him, why don't you set up a business? You're smarter than I am. You've been in this country longer than I am. And he was scared. He could not do it. And then I'm like, you know what? It's because from the younger age, nobody told them that the job that you're doing is not secure either. It's like you work for you under a company. So all you need to do is change this very tiny little mindset that I'm doing a job working for this company called my company. That's it. But you take more control. You can change your ideas. So when you learn that what you do should come from what you're interested in, then all ideas, please, should be aligned with that thing that you're interested in. You see, when I talk about multiple streams of income, people think I'm talking about set up different things. No, I'm saying find one thing, specialize in one thing first. So initially for me was sales, because you never run out of income opportunities when you do sales. And then I realized to have good salespeople, we need to train them about personal development, business development, and money management, and how to set ambitious goals for themselves. And then from there, I realized that I can set up a training business. From there, then I realized that if I'm making all this money, then how do I manage it? Then I have to set up a management company, which is a consulting business, to make sure I can teach other people how to do that, but I can't teach something if I'm not doing it myself. So everything I teach is for my own benefit, not for the person I'm teaching, because teachers benefit more than a student. Anything you're going to deliver in 1 hour can take you a week to put together, which means you need to learn more. So everything I'm doing is relating to what's helping me to grow, but I'm turning that into a business. And then from there, I realized that when I learned about managing money, I learned that you cannot manage money if you don't make that money work. You can't save your way to wealth. You need to put that money to work. Then I was asking, what is the easiest thing that an average person can do to make their money work? And also do what we call leverage, using other people's knowledge, money, experience, expertise to make your money work more. Then I discovered properties. And in UK, as you know, property is a huge thing. Then I learned that, every dollar, every pound you put into a property, the bank can easily put in 9. And I was like, okay, if you put in £1, the bank putting 9, this is an example, doesn't exist anymore, putting 9, it means that if the property goes up by 10%, I make £1, which represents 100% return on my money. So I'm like, okay, I need to learn about that. So then I started learning what real estate is. How does it work? How come the most wealthiest people on the planet, none of them is secure without investing in property or intellectual property, but real physical brick and mortar? So then I started a business from that. And then I learned that, okay, the market can happen. Something can happen to the market. Then what happens? Then I discovered investing in other people, the stock market. But then I saw people losing money in the stock market. I'm like, no, I'm not giving people my money. But then I learned that if I invest in a company that's doing what I love doing, in those days it was consulting companies, companies helping people to grow, I'm interested in that. So I can invest in that company because not only I'm investing in the company because I know more about that subject, but also I'm learning. If I want to take my company public, what do I have to do? Because before I invest, I learn what makes this company attract me to invest in it, which means I learn how to make my company be attractive for other investors. So I was not investing for them, I'm investing for my business to learn. If I'm going to invest my money, I'm going to learn why am I investing. By learning that, I'm helping myself grow. And then I set up a company that's selling financial services because I was learning about that. And then what happened as time went on, I set up a conference company with bringing speakers to the US to the UK because this learning was not quick enough. I wanted to be around people like Les Brown because it's the first guy, a black guy I saw speaking, and I'm like, I need to know this guy. But in order for him to be my friend, I say, if I pay him to come and speak for me, he can become my friend. So that company grew to, I think we're maybe the 5th largest conference company in the UK. And I'm talking about, we're doing millions of pounds in those particular days. But also I knew that, you know what, this is good, but doesn't excite me much until one of those guys said, Geoffrey, you need to speak. Gabby, I was not speaking in those days. I just introduced somebody and I go back. And then one day, I want to mention the name of the speaker. He was so busy selling his program. I paid him £100,000 to sell my program, and somebody selling his. I asked him to get off stage, and for the first time, I was so mad. I'm losing money. The day is running out. I've got 3,000 people in the room, but this man is busy selling his own stuff. I asked him to get off the stage, and I sold my program, and I recovered my investment. From that day, I said, I have to speak. I've never let nobody to speak on my stage, and he's a speaker. I'm the headline, he's a supporting headline. I don't care what you Les Brown. And that's how that business able to go. And then the last business, as you asked me, which I'm still doing today. And then Les Brown introduced me to Mark Victor Hansen, the co-founder Chicken Soup for the Soul. I started knowing people around, some of the biggest internet marketers in the world in those particular days. And then as I was listening to them, somebody said to me that, Geoffrey, nobody knows you if you don't tell your story. Hence why I said, I started writing books to tell my story via books. Now I run a company, Actual Publishing, that I believe every single person, I don't care whether you're 10 years old or 100 years old, you need to write a book, not because you're gonna make money in the book, but it's the only document that it can describe who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for. It can educate other people, it can open doors for you, and it can help you actually change and help other people. It can make you taller, can make you smarter. It's the only tool that will change your life by teaching and selling you more than anything else. And that's really the business I'm concentrating on right now, because it's opening doors in all other businesses that I do. Because once you get to know me and I get to know you, then you can do business behind the scene.
Geoffrey, how long do you stick with any idea in your businesses before you giving up?
Until it's done. There's never such a thing as giving up. You see, people use the word that giving up. What does that mean? Giving up is meaning prepare to die. If you prepare to die, then it's easy. Just get a rope and put it in your neck and die. But in life, there's no such a thing as giving up. It's like you say, let me give it up and breathe it. I'm breathing. When you pick something and you want to make it work, there's no such a thing of giving up. You can change direction. You can change different ways of doing it. But there's no one thing to give up. You can move on to something better. Because if you find out this lady made a mistake by doing that, you can find something, but don't throw it up in the bin, because you spend months or years working on it. Don't waste your time throwing it away. I usually say, if something doesn't work, you write a book about it, why it didn't work, and teach all of us what you did wrong, and you still turn to money. Okay, so there's no such a thing as losing or failing in anything. You just need to change direction. But the key is, Gabi, is we need to make sure people, before they start something, they identify the 10 people on the planet who do that. People make that big mistake. They start an idea from their heads. Never do any research. And people tell me, do a business plan. Forget about business plans. Just find people who do that the very best. And then study them, research them, figure out their work ethics. That will help you to never understand this concept of give up for people who have not studied enough. But if you research those successful people you follow, they've gone through hell. So if you're not prepared to go through what they went through, then don't leave it but at the start. Business is not for everybody, but it's for those who really want to get there faster, who want to live a fulfilling life, who want to be excited about every day, who don't need motivation to get up in the morning. You know, that's what business is. It's life. But most importantly, you are the people run our economy. You see, Gabi, right now, people being in quarantine. But I can tell you, I've never been busier in my life. I'm so thankful of that. I'm on 5 different task forces of community support and help others. Now, if nobody's calling you right now, in this quarantine, these hard times, it means something is wrong. It means you haven't told the world what you do. People are going through problems right now. If you're a plumber and you're the best plumber, people need your help right now to get on Skype and show them how they can fix their homes. If your mother can help when the mother's going home. If you're a teacher, how do you Zoom teach another kid? If you're a speaker, how do you speak and share messages? If you're a singer, you sing for free. You know, you should be busy right now. If you know, you should be busy right now. If you know something is wrong, and don't let that happen again. You have 12 months to read 1 book a week, to listen to 1 hour of audio, to watch 1 hour of YouTube video on one subject. In 12 months, you become one of the best at doing that. So it's no idea. Things like giving up for people we have not trained enough. People say, I don't know what to do. Are people who basically, now I do understand though, sometimes we all want to give up. But then you need to look back and say, then to what? Then you're going to do what? The best to do, the next thing which is available for you is to go and be told when to wake up, when to go to bed, when to go to the toilet, how much money you can get paid, and then you have no hope. Now, if you're in a job, I need to be clear on this. If you're in a job, it's okay to be in a job because that job is subjective to finance your business. So be there as you work to finance your idea or your business, or you're there to learn how you can run your own business. And that's why every time you get stuck, not to give up. Find out who's doing it. Ask what he did in that time. And you can never, ever feel like giving up. You get tired, yes, but you don't give up. Sorry for the noise, people start knocking again.
What do you consider to be your weakness?
Not such a thing. No such a thing. You see, I know, Gabby, people love to use these words, and what's your strength, what's your weakness, and whatever. There's no such a thing as a strength, there's no such a thing as a weakness. You see, Gabby, if you go to North London, and you're coming from South London, go to North London, and you're getting there, you can't say, oh, my weakness is if the bus doesn't come, I'm going to stop going there. I'm going to North London, I'm going whether the bus or no bus. Whether there's a traffic lights or no traffic lights. When the bus closes or the tube is closed, I am going. I was lucky. I was lucky because I didn't have anybody to turn back to. When I was a kid, I had no choice but to survive. So I do understand some people grow up in an environment, people in Europe, they grow up in an environment where somebody's there to help you, someone to take care of you, the government to go back to your rescue if you give up. But there's no such a thing as giving up. And secondly, there's no such a thing as turning around, because turn around to go back. If you like your past, they turn around. But most people don't like the past because that's why they want to go forward. Life is designed to be moving forward. I know education system is so wrong. They don't teach our children the basics. If your child start to walk, what happens when they start walking? They get up, they fall. They get up, they fall. You tell them, oh, stop trying, it's too hard. Give up from walking, just stay on the ground. No, let them walk. But why, when you grow up, you start to think like, I don't know, I was going to use the wrong word on your show, I apologize. Why, when you grow up, we get brain dead? We stop applying the basic fundamentals. No, you can change direction, but you don't give up. The only day you give up is the day you decide, and by the way, you're not strong enough to commit suicide, because people commit suicide, they're very strong, they're the most strongest people that I know. So you're not strong enough to commit suicide anyway, so you can never give up. What are you saying? Who can come and take care of me? Who's gonna come and rescue me? And nobody's going to. And nobody's going to. God is looking at you and he's saying, I gave you everything you need. Why would you give up? I gave you everything you need. Why would you give up?
I don't give up. Like you say, I change the direction and I make things to work. It's nothing impossible. And when I say nothing is impossible, it's testing, and everyone need to work on his dream or her dream. If really believe, if really believe this is the way, you need to work. But that means to have a kind of discipline. To work on yourself, to put all the ideas together. Geoffrey, tell me about your daily activities to help you to grow your life or entrepreneurial life, because everyone we have few or more daily base that help us to grow as entrepreneurs.
You know, Gabby, one of the things that I did learn long time ago is that every time I see people doing one thing, I do the opposite. And so when people use specific words, I completely scrap it, because I learned that when you see something on TV, it means the opportunity is gone, it's past, it doesn't work anymore. So when I hear many speakers use specific words all the time, then I know that doesn't work anymore. We moved on to something completely different. So the way I'm answering your question is that people say, what's your day routine? And I'm like, listen, I'm not a machine. You know, I don't have a routine. I mean, I know people, and I know these speakers, they get paid a lot of money, and I know the big ones. Get up in the morning, have your ritual, and do your meditation, or go your little running, whatever. I have 5 businesses, but I have responsibility on around 5,000 people. I'm putting myself in a situation that I don't need to discipline myself. The environment makes me discipline myself. I'll give you an example. People ask me, why do you get on Skype, on Facebook? Why do you speak? Because I say, if I wasn't a speaker, I wouldn't worry about how I look. I wouldn't worry about to keep myself in shape. Because who's going to look at me? Okay? But when I know how to deliver a speech a day, then I know I set my standard that I'm going to try to look at the best I can, not all the time, but I'm going to try my best. Which means that I put myself in a position, I convince myself in my head that I'm so important that I don't want to meet you when I'm not ready. So even if I'm going to the supermarket, I dress up as if I'm going to a party. And I went to the supermarket. Why? Because I chose this the only way I can discipline myself. But because enemies of ourselves is ourselves. It's very difficult to convince yourself to do everything every day. But when you put yourself into a situation where you know you have to do something because the marketplace forces you to do it. People said to me, but how do you remind yourself to work out? Well, I don't have much of a choice because I always do. I wear very tight clothes, okay? Those tight clothes, this reminds me to make sure my stomach has to stay in. Okay, so I put waistcoat in there because it's tight me so tight. And reminds me, if I had a little bit of inch of my belly starting out, it reminds me. And I'm not saying you have to do something. I'm saying find something for you that reminds you. Okay, this quarantine time, people say, let your hair grow. I'm doing a conference call 3 times a day. My hair can't grow. I need to get a haircut to show up, whatever it takes. You know, I volunteer. Volunteering helps you discipline yourself. You see, people say I need to remind myself because you have nothing to do. When you volunteer to school, volunteer to college, to churches, volunteer to hospitals, volunteer to local colleges, businesses, then those people will always remind you, don't forget, you won't have the energy if you don't work out. You won't have the energy if you're not doing quarter. You won't have the energy if you basically eat rubbish. You know, you don't have the time if you spend time with everybody who don't do anything. So the answer to you, Gabi, is that everybody needs to put themselves in a situation where the world is looking up for them for answers. When people ask me for answers, you find solutions. And that's the reason why. Because you know, if you don't find the answers, who's going to? Because of that. Every day I get reminded about what to drink, what to eat, how to do something, how to make sure it's, you know, people said to me, you in Uganda, how do you end up all this stuff? Because if you see me travel, I travel with 4 bags, okay, of 4 big bags and 2 electronic suitcases that I carry on the plane, in the cabin. Why? Because I come prepared, okay, with everything. I said, but why? Because I know this, I'm expected to deliver a lot of work. So most people, what they say, well, I don't want to do very much. They don't give themselves bigger responsibilities, which means that they actually limit what they can do. Take for instance, you told me we need to have this conversation today. It's 9:30, but before that, I need to do another one in the morning. So to do that, I need to make sure I finish yours and move to another one coming after yours. Now, you know, but I wake up in the morning as if I'm going to work. So I'm prepared, I'm always busy. I could have said, oh, I'm busy, I can't do it. We tried a few times, it didn't work out. But I like you because you didn't even care. You said, let's try again, let's try again. Even today, I don't know if it's working or not, but we're trying again. People are knocking again, but we try again. We don't here to complain, we're trying to find out how it works. So the answer to the question in a long-winded way is that find what works for you completely. But for me, I know I have to get up in the morning and do a little bit of run around. I know how to drink 2 liters of water a day. I know how to eat water content food so that I don't have to worry so much about certain stuff. I don't need to build muscles, but I have this little lifting stuff that I have. I walk, I don't take stairs, I'm always walking. You know, this cleanness stuff of sanitizer stuff people discovered today, I'm like, where have you been? I'm always clean. I always sanitizing myself. You know, so say the rules for yourself and let the world know about those rules. And then when they see you without sanitizer, they ask you, Geoffrey, what happened? If you know me as a friend, you know I'm always carrying one of these. I'm always carrying wipes and tissues. So if you see me without them, you ask me, Geoffrey, what happened? So that reminds me to make sure that's the case. And secondly, when you tell people who you are, what you expect, then make sure they do that. So when I go to meet people, ask me to speak, there's always sanitizer waiting, there was a tissue waiting. Now, that's and water. That's big. But I don't want to go somewhere when I have to tell you what to do. I already communicate that through my books, through how we communicate, how we got to know each other. I always tell you people that I don't use foul language. I make it clear so that one day I don't get caught up. When you tell the world, I don't do this, you try to live up to that. When you don't tell the world who you are, you're always trying to be anything. So my message to people, tell people who you are. That's why I said write a book. Tell people who you are. And then they make you stay with us. And it also motivates you to keep those standards. If you have no standards, you have to remind yourself all the time what to do. But if you set your standards high, you always cannot forget those standards. Because when you forget, people remind you that, hey, hold on, Gabi, what happened here? Because you told them. If you don't know, then you can't tell them. You can't tell them, they can't help you. I'm not talking about sharing your goals and people can support you to grow. No, I'm saying tell people who you are. And then they know that you don't let them down when it comes to that.
That is very true. We lead our people by example, by our example. If you don't make example very clear and your team don't learn from yourself, or people around you don't learn from yourself by example, you are not in good shape or in the good path. Geoffrey, the last question: do you believe is there is there a winning formula to be a successful entrepreneur?
Yes, there is. And really, first, you have to decide what you want to do with your life. Okay, that is almost, it's no question. You need to know what your life should mean. Okay, some people don't know. Then pick a number. If you don't know what your life should be, if you're a young kid, you're watching this, you say, "Yep, I don't know what I want to do." Then pick a number. Say, "I want to make this money because I want this lifestyle." So for young people, I usually say, decide your lifestyle. The lifestyle will determine how much money you need. And then the lifestyle will determine what kind of job you need. So when a child say, "I want to drive a big car, live in a big house, take my kid better school, travel business class," then they know they have to make minimum $40 million and above. If that's your target of income, then you know no job will give you that money, apart from a business or an executive work within a company. So you know that's your target. Once you know the number or what you want to be, then the next thing is to decide how are you going to generate that money. The only way you can generate that money by looking at people making that money. They're usually very developed people, committed to grow themselves. So you know what you want, and then then find those 5 or 10 people who do that, learn everything about them. Once you know what made them who they are, then start feeding your mind with the information taking you to become like those people. So you feed your mind first. The books, the audio, the video, the people you associate yourself with, the places you volunteer to share, to learn. Learn first. Apologize for the noise. I don't know if you can hear me. So you feed your mind first, and then feed your body, because the body needs support. The mind needs support. You need to be physically fit, not somebody working out with muscles. No, just eat what's good for you. Just eliminate toxic in your body. And try to have as much energy as you can. Aerobics, exercise, basically that helps. For half an hour a day. And then present yourself well, because you want to be this person you want to be. That personal development process concept is common sense. You know what you want, then you know what you need to do to become that particular person. Then work on it every day. Do that. And then as you're learning, remember what you're learning? You're learning it because you want to turn that into that income you want to generate. Then teach what you learn to someone else, because whatever you know, someone else doesn't know. They need to learn about that. So when you teach, you are learning more about that thing that you want to do. So as you are learning, you are teaching. When you teach someone, you start to see opportunities when you're teaching that person. Business ideas come from when you are practicing what you are learning. Practicing happens the most when you're teaching someone else, because they ask you questions that allows you to answer some of the questions you haven't even thought of. The more answers you find, the more opportunities that you see. And then take that learning online. Because initially it's face-to-face, next online. Connect and make friends around the world. Don't worry getting paid. Just make friends, as many friends as possible. So the first thing is decide what you want to do. Second thing, find the best people who best to do that, and learn about don't learn from them, just learn what they need. And then feed your mind with information that can help you become that person. And remember, pick one subject. And then start teaching what you learn to other people. When you teach what you learn for other people, face to face and online, now it helps you to discover opportunities from there. Now, investigate a business model, meaning register that idea as a company. Now people say, but why? Because when you register a company, you have responsibility to submit accounts, annual returns, and then you have to operate as a business. When you operate in your mind as a business, you stop treating this as a hobby. You start to keep receipts, managing accounts, and so on and so forth. You start to do that. And then you start to understand how to keep more of your money, how to pay less taxes, how you can write everything off, how you can live with purpose. All of a sudden, things start to make sense because you're thinking as a business owner. And when people ask you what you do, you easily say, my name is Gabi Limited, this is what I do. Well, as soon as you say that, people stop thinking of you as an employee to a business owner, your stock value goes up. And then learn to keep more of that money for yourself. Now, where you're going to invest it, always should come from invest more in you to grow as a person. I said to somebody, Gabi, if you have not taken a paid seminar last month, you are in financial trouble. If you're not paying for some kind of software you need to learn to discover, you're in trouble. If you always wanting things for free, you don't upgrade your broadband. You like free stuff. You don't buy books. You're looking for the free one. You know, free stuff don't make you work because they're free. We don't value something that is free. So if you invest 10% of your money in investing in you, that 10% will give you 3,000% return. 10% of your money should be invested in you, your knowledge, your appearance, your physical, your ability to communicate with the world. That basically takes you to the final part. Put that money and the money that you keep and invest it into things that can work for you when you are not working. Things like real estate or areas of expertise that you understand. Because let's say, for instance, I love to speak, right? I do these videos. But if I was to pay a videographer to come and record me every time, I might have to pay them like $500 or $1,000 every time. So I invest in the best camera. I pay $3,000 buying a camera. Well, do you know how much money that camera is going to make me? You know? So the point is, I invest in tools that help me make more money. Before I invest in real estate, I invest in tools that I'm going to use first. People say, take money from your business and buy a property, and the property don't make them any money when they could easily make more money investing in the tool they need to do so. That's why every expert has a studio. Now,
that's mean to be entrepreneur.
What happened? My computer basically just shut down. It was my fault. I forgot to keep it plugged in. Okay,
but when you manage to from this kind of things and we put a smile on our face, that makes our life better because the life is imperfect.
Yeah. So I'm saying because you're recording, maybe that should still be okay. You're gone.
I know I asked you the last question, but I have the really last question. If you have the possibility to go back, years back, 10, 15 years back, and you meet yourself, what kind of advice will you give to you?
tell your story as soon as possible. It's the only thing that makes you who you are. Live your life like a movie, and like in any movie, there's a good and there's bad. If the movie was happy, it was a boring movie. If also the movie was sad, it would be a boring movie as well. So the movie is like every part of your life. You need to document it until your life ends. Document every single part of your life. Because when you do that, you start to evaluate your life every single day. You know, when you put yourself on paper, you can easily look at yourself on paper and say, oh my God, I haven't done enough. But the mistake that we do, and I did myself, I didn't document myself as much. So that way, I started to compare myself to other people instead of seeing what I've done more or what I can do more. So yes, I would tell myself that document everything, because that helps you to evaluate yourself. It also helps you to question other people's advice. The next point is that only take advice from people who qualifies to give that advice. You know, I'm not apologetic to say to somebody, if you have not done something, just be honest with people and say, listen, I haven't done this, but I've researched on it more than you have. So let me teach you what I've learned, because I'm a student too. The same way a guy in a higher class can come and teach another guy in a lower class. So that's how it works. But what you can't afford to do to tell people, you teach them and pretend you've done it before. So when you're looking and seeking advice from people, make sure you're asking people these questions. Have you done this before? Or have you researched this before? Better than I have. If they have not researched that thing 10 times more than you have, walk away from them, because they don't know what it takes. If they haven't done it and failed a few times, they don't know how it works, because they don't know what it is. You see, so find people who failed as many times and try to find out why they failed. You'll find out quicker. Don't try to figure it out yourself. Employ other people to work for you. I don't mean paying them money. I'm saying when you make your cake big, smart people are happy to be part of that idea. When you make the cake too small, nobody wants to be part of it. So make sure you document yourself. Your life should be a story. I said to every single person that every 10 years of your life, you should write a book at worst. If you're 20, 2 books, 30, 3 books, 40, because you documenting your life, a decade is a lot of time without you telling us what you've done. What you tell yourself, what you've done. If you can't tell yourself what you've done, then you cannot tell the world, then the world has no value to you. We value companies because they tell us where they've been and where they're going, and we make them, look good because they tell us they know the future. They don't know the future. So if you don't tell the world what your future is going to be because you don't know what your past is, they can never put a value on you. Gabby, the people out there get paid $1 million for the same job. Somebody get paid $10,000. The first time I saw Donald Trump speak was in San Francisco. He was paid by Lining Annex for his speech for $1 million. $1 million. This is 2006. Okay, he was paid $1 million for just a 15 minutes. I'm sorry, it was garbage, but he got paid because who he is. Okay, because he's the only guy who can tell people, I know this real estate game, so you better listen to me. He gave free advice. In my opinion, they were rubbish advice. But I tell you what, he's Donald Trump. Okay, and they paid $1 million. Though the Robert Kiyosaki's of this world, Tony Robbins of this world, they were there in the audience like this. Honestly, they were, and that's the day Robert Kiyosaki made Donald Trump to write that book that you know about. But the point is that the person who you are is best from what you tell us, the past, and what you tell us the future. And don't worry if the past has been bad. Just tell us you've learned from the past. That's why no leaders will ever become a president of a country if they have not told us who they are. If they made mistakes in the past, they tell us. And they tell us, I've learned from those mistakes. And that's how we win and vote for them. So document yourself, learn from people who've been there, done it, won the t-shirt. And 3, please, whatever you do, Just think about big ideas only. Small ideas kills people. Small ideas kills people's way of living. If you want to do sanitizers, as an example, just find out who makes the biggest money sanitizers and think about building a factory. Why? Because by you researching how to build a factory, even if you don't build a factory, you can tell us how to create a factory, and you can be consultant to help others, or you can write a book on that. You know, you cannot lose when you're thinking big. But people say, think big, might make more money. No, just find the best people make the biggest money in that area and try to emulate them. Because of your goal is so big, because your agenda is massive, because your what you call your value so high, because you're targeting to do bigger stuff, you don't need motivation to get up. You don't need motivation to read a book. You don't need motivation to go and do a live like this or share knowledge with someone else, because you know you want to be a Richard Branson. And you're not going to be Richard Branson. There's some language you can't use. There's some things you can't say, because that's beyond you. And that's why I like people to be role models for other people. So that's the final thing. Role model. Be a role model to someone, because that forces you to find answers for them. That helps you to find answers for you. Those would be the advice I give little Geoffrey that listen. Document yourself. Don't listen to anybody who doesn't qualify to give advice. Make sure your goal is so big that it pushes you to grow. And make sure you volunteer to mentor and help somebody, because that person is your firing engine to keep you looking for answers, as well as fighting to grow for yourself.
Thank you so much, Geoffrey, for your opening to share with the Brainstorm strategy community so great advice and sharing some points of your wisdom. Thank you so much, Geoffrey, and I will look to meet you when you come back from this pandemic lockdown.
Absolutely, no problem at all.
Have a great time. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.